Some tips if you are not very well endowed. If you notice that your vulva owning partner isn't coming and it's most of the time, get curious. It's okay making sex a regular conversation. We feel like we're bad people if we claim our desires or share what we need. Just listen to what is true in your mind and in your body. Hello, my internet friends. Thank you so much for being here and joining me for yet another deep dive into sex, sexuality, emotional relating, and overall how to be a good lover, because life's too short to be having mediocre sex, to not be telling the truth to yourself and to the people that you love. So we're going to get into it. I'll have different titles in the timeline below. I'm going to start off with more technical aspects of sex and lovemaking, and then more of the emotional and relational aspects, which are extremely important. So the context of this video is that I have spent so many moments on the kitchen floor or on the living room floor with my girlfriends unpacking a sexual encounter that they had and everything that was just slightly off about it, the communication that wasn't fully there, the pleasure that was just so close but not fully right, or the fact that this person they were with was using them to masturbate, was using their body to simply get off. And I just kind of wanted to be the messenger for all of my arty friends, all of the alt girls, sometimes feeling a little bit unfulfilled. And this is a safe space, so I'm gonna be nice, but there are just some incongruencies that I've noticed. I'm really giving Dom energy right now with this corset, but it's part of my Halloween costume and I just wanted to let it live a little bit longer. So just let me play the role of the sexy sex educator for one more day. Honestly, I'm loving it. I have my plaid skirt on, I'm in Japan. So let's just get into it. What makes someone sexy? I feel like confidence, especially sexual confidence, simply comes from knowing yourself, all of your strengths and your weaknesses, being able to take up space exactly as you are. Oh, I'm bad at this, or this is what I'm looking for in a relationship. Just having enough deconstructed shame and sense of self that you can show up honestly and actually know the impact that you're having on the world or on someone's life. And I know this probably sounds a little bit ambiguous, but it's just like welcoming your humanness. I feel like we hurt so many people or avoid so many confrontations just because we feel like we're bad people if we claim our desires or share what we need. I think this comes up a lot with men who just want casual sex, but they literally lie and say, oh yeah, well, let's just feel it out. This is the whole fuckboy thing. Let's just see how it goes, knowing that they just want to have sex. It's like, just say that you are not ready for the responsibility of a relationship. And then this also feeds into your sexual desires and pleasure, being fully aware of what your kinks are and knowing what you enjoy during sex, as well as what has historically made other past partners experience pleasure. Like, what are your skill sets and desires, as well as knowing what you're struggling with. Maybe that's your libido or your longevity, or you're not always making your partner come. This is just information to have in the back of your head so that you know when you might have good chemistry with someone new. It's so considerate to build up your longevity, and you can do this by self-pleasuring and practicing withholding your seed. If you're in a sexual encounter and you feel like you're about to finish and you really don't want to, just pull out. It's really okay for there not to be constant penetration, because you can pull out and give them oral pleasure or stimulate their chest or finger them and keep other forms of stimulation going. Especially clitoral stimulation will feel great. So anytime you feel like you're about to finish and it's way too soon, give love to your partner in some other way. This is feedback I've gotten from so many girlfriends that their penis owning partners will not make them come over like 50% of the time. If you notice that your vulva owning partner isn't coming and it's most of the time, get curious. It's okay. And it's kind of exciting to know, oh, we still have more pleasure portals that can be opened here. There's still more information that could be exchanged about how to make each other feel good. And it can honestly only go uphill from there if you're having conversations about it. And on this note, masturbation is so healthy. Orgasms are so good for you, but I love masturbation as this ongoing self-intimacy and also a way to be curious about what lives in your body. We store memory and pleasure and stories in our body, and the more that you are facing those and confronting those on your own, the easier it will be to feel a little bit of spaciousness or ease when you're engaging sexually with someone else. And today's video is sponsored by my favorite sex toy company, which is Lelo. They make high quality sex toys, and this here is one of my favorites. This is the Enigma Double Sonic with deep sonic technology to help stimulate the A spot, which is a sensitive area on the vaginal wall just right behind the G spot. And oh my goodness, this will give you deeply emotional, profound, pleasurable orgasms if you're into that kind of stimulation. It also has clitoral stimulation, so it's 2-in-1, but you can just use one or the other at a time, and the battery life is incredible. This has double sensonic waves for fast yet gentle stimulation of the clitoris, and this whole toy can be connected to an app to unlock 2 additional pleasure modes and just customize your experience all around. But right now, the Enigma Double Sonic is available at a discount for the first time ever, and Lelo is having a bunch of stackable Black Friday deals. So if you are looking to invite a new toy or even a conversation about sex with your partner, this could be a really fun way to initiate it and show that you are here for their pleasure. You can use my code HITOMILELO10 for an additional 10% off your purchase. And thank you so much to Lelo for sponsoring these kinds of conversations, because it really should be normalized. I think foreplay can be so incredibly helpful, and one of my favorite forms of foreplay is simply just talking about sex, is making sex a regular conversation, not having it just take place in the bedroom in the moment that sex is happening, but you're doing the dishes in the morning, like, oh, remember that one time that we did this, or you're at a park and you're saying, oh, I love this about our sex life, or, you know, initiating conversations like, do you like our sex? Are you fulfilled with our sex life? And the more regularly you're talking about sex, the easier it is to exchange feedback, exchange little field notes for each other, and just be better lovers for one another, because the dynamics within your relationship are the most revealing to what will help your sex life. So go right to the source, talk to them directly. Also, if your partner is sharing a fantasy with you or does happen to have a kink, it's really fun to do your own research on it and show it to your partner, like, hey, I saw this thing. Is this kind of what you want to do? Or let's watch a video about that together. Or there's this party, this kink party happening. Do you want to go and experience this? Just kind of getting excited about the things that you know your partner likes. And I have a short list of how to initiate conversations about sex, because I feel like this can be a little bit tricky sometimes. When do you feel most sexy? When do you feel most available for pleasure? What's a fantasy you have? How can you feel more connected in your body when we're having sex? I want to normalize talking about sex more because your pleasure is important to me. I love that one. Do you have any feedback for me? I feel vulnerable about what happened, but I want to learn from it. That's if something happened, you talk about it. Those are really simple ways to make it a regular conversation, and also praising your partner regularly, vocally affirming the things that you love about their body, about your sex life, and not making that a foreign thing. Some tips: if you are not very well endowed, there's no reason to feel shame. There's so much that you can do, so much good that you can do, even if you are around 3 or 4 inches. And one of the best things is to stimulate the G spot and to focus on positions where you're sliding. Sometimes that in-out motion won't be as stimulating, but if you're sliding and using your size to your advantage, you can really get into the G spot, and you can work on other techniques as well to add to your sexual charisma. So always adding a hand to the front of the vulva, or being really good at oral pleasure, just having very specific ways that you know you can get your partner off, and also inviting them to ride you in a way that feels good for them, so that you can learn, like, okay, what positions work for us. And having a few positions that you know have worked in the past can be really helpful. Reliable techniques of getting your partner off. If you do have a smaller package, focusing on foreplay a lot more, focusing on other forms of pleasure for them, and getting really good at those things, getting really good at giving head, or getting really good at talking dirty, maybe praising your partner during sex, getting really good at giving them the right pressure when you're rubbing their clit. It really is about the commitment to being curious. And if you have a larger package, I feel like this is also something that needs some technical skills, like making sure your partner is always super lubricated and not pounding into them immediately, letting their body adjust to your size, and knowing that the goal isn't to hurt your partner. The goal isn't to leave them sore just because it makes you feel masculine if you are a hetero man, but the goal is to pleasure your partner. Is this too hard for you? Is this too fast? Is this too deep? To not go into sex with a jackrabbit mentality, just have rhythms of more speed, more depth, and then go gentle or more shallow so that they can feel the distinction and the contrast. But if you're just going at it, it will numb everything out. And that's like probably a poor choice of words, but that's kind of what happens. It just gets overstimulated and it doesn't feel as pleasurable or as distinct. I hope that this is an obvious thing, but when it comes to anal, never put the penis from the anus back into the vagina. Be aware of any fingers that are going up your partner's butt and not putting them anywhere else on their body. So not carrying any shame around any natural human bodily things in sex in general is going to make you a really good partner and a really safe partner, especially when you're trying new things. I feel like anal is also specifically so vulnerable, and overall being confident in your abilities to listen and respond to your partner. Every time that you have sex is going to be a different mood, a different atmosphere, and maybe a different kind of lovemaking that needs to happen. I think specifically in my relationships with men, in the very beginning of hooking up with someone, I would be so ready to just go at it at any time without very much foreplay or stimulation at all. But then after a few months, they would still be coming at me with that energy of like, oh yeah, this is just how she is. She's immediately ready. And I'd be like, no, that's because it was new and exciting, and my body was just nonstop like excited about receiving you. Now that we've been seeing each other for months, I do need a little bit more time to warm up. Also, multi-stimulation can be great. So when you're having penetrative sex, also paying attention to other parts of the body, maybe stimulating the chest or the butt or sucking on their fingers. I had this one partner who was always just sucking some part of my body, and it felt so good to be like sucked and have their tongue swirling around on me, even if I was on top or on my knees or just in other places. They were always like, how can I stimulate this person in some way? And it just made me so in my body and so sensual. And this is another benefit of a sensorium too. If you have incense or a good playlist or good lighting, it's just going to amplify how much your partner can surrender to their senses and just feel their pleasure in their body. Getting out of our heads is something that can take some time. Just inviting different ways to get into the body and out of the head, even doing a preliminary like, do you want to just breathe with me? Or naturally attuning your breath to your partners as things are getting hot and heavy, like holding their face next to yours, feeling their breath, feeling the rise and fall of their tummy, and dropping into that spacious place mentally before sex. Verbally affirming and doing some kind of dirty talk. I guess this is something that I really respond well to. These are some hot things to say in bed. Take your time, baby. We have all the time in the world. I love making you feel good. You're doing so good. Your body is perfect. I love your body. I'm so lucky I get to fuck you. I'm so lucky I get to touch you. And, just listen to what is true in your mind and in your body. Not putting pressure on your partner's orgasm, not being like, are you gonna come for me? Are you ready for me yet? Are you almost done? No rushing the orgasm, because that will immediately kill it and get your partner back in their head. So let them feel into their body, take your time, you're doing great. Keep going, keep using my body for your pleasure. All of those things are gonna really support them in doing what they need to finish. And any mention of like, did you come? Are you gonna come? Can feel like pressure. So yeah, just letting them know that they can stop or change their mind at any point. These are just some like consent affirmations I wrote, but I don't know if that's exactly the right way to put it. Say these things to your partner. I think they will really like it. You can always change your mind or tell me if it's too much. I'm listening and here for your pleasure. It's never fun for me if you're not having fun. We can stop at any time. I want you to tell me what you need, or if your feelings change. This is hot. I want you to tell me what you need. We can stop at any time. This is a great foundation for trust and safety and being completely uninhibited during sex. I have had quite a few sexual encounters where I'm already in it and I was feeling so good about it initially, but then I start getting in my head and I start overthinking something and I just keep going because my partner is already really deep in it and I don't want to stop the momentum. But you can even say, like, it's okay to break the momentum. I want you to feel good. And for me, I really like when my partner's like, hey, do you want to take a moment? So I started to share this with my last partner, and we would just take a moment and I'd be like, wait, can I just take a breath? And we would just stop until I reinitiated our sex. And I just found that to be so healing, because sometimes I did just need like 5 minutes, or like we were going really rough and hard and it triggered something from the past. So it felt so sweet to just be able to take that time to co-regulate and then get back into it, because truly so much does live in the body, and it doesn't have to immediately stop. I don't think I wanted to not have sex anymore. I just wanted it to feel good. So like I was able to take the time to get back to a good place mentally and physically. Even just like 3 minutes of breathing, even just being able to stop and having your partner immediately honor that. In general, not forcing sexual connections will be so good for you as a penis owner. Not projecting sex into every single relationship or female friendship that you have. I feel like men always, they talk about being friend zoned, but it's like, why did you sex zone me? Like, why did you immediately see me and put me in this box of having sex with me? Like, why don't you just feel out the energy first? Or let's see if this is a natural thing that's here for us, if we're both attracted to each other. I think men who are so attached to having sex and like forcing that onto a connection are gonna miss out on what's even better than sex, which is like a long-term, life-changing friendship full of vulnerabilities and healing and overcoming things, and actually like experience so many other depths of life together. And men being perceptive enough to listen to what kind of relationship is naturally unfolding is so wonderful, so sexy. Anytime I've gone over to a guy's house and I was like, actually, I don't really know if I want to do this. Like I would go over thinking maybe I did want to, and then I get there and I'm like, I actually don't really want to hook up tonight. And they were like, oh, we totally don't have to do that. Let's do all these other things. I was so attracted to them. That is so hot. They're not living in a lack mentality about needing to have sex, and they're also just letting the natural information rise, obviously like honoring my consent and needs. But there's like this air, this aura around men who are not forcing sex in any situation. They're just like letting it naturally happen or feeling into the natural attunement. But whenever there's this intensely sexual energy exuding from a man, like this wanting and needing energy, it really turns me off, because it feels so strong that I can't tune into how I actually feel about it. And it also feels so conditional and obligatory. And that's like scary fucking territory. Any man who doesn't know that we're living in a patriarchy and women are constantly dealing with sexual harassment, most vulva owners with sexual trauma, and are constantly being stripped by the male gaze, any man who isn't aware of that is slightly like a turn off to me. It's just not going to exist in my world. And the last thing I'm going to finish off with is just the emotional aspect of that most vulva owners are attracted by penis owners who are emotionally mature, who can experience all of their emotions without running away, who can listen deeply to areas of shame or smallness, who can be really honest with themselves and have a healthy relationship to their feelings and are able to communicate. This is basically just having collected self-awareness. They know when they're feeling off, they know the conditions that help them feel really good and stable in life, spending time noticing things in the world that feel good or that feel bad, and what conditions set you up to feel like a full, whole human every single day that wants to do good on this earth. That's just something that I've noticed. And these are just a bunch of random conversations I've had with friends at like 3 a.m. on a kitchen floor that I just kind of wanted to synthesize into one video. Hopefully you found something helpful from this. Hopefully I wasn't too mean, but thank you so much for watching and just being curious about any form of sexual education. I will see you in a video soon. If you have any other questions relating to this topic or things you want me to dive into, please leave them down below and I'll save them for next time. Bye!